guys, Dorothy here with Done by Dorothy, and we are here today. We're working on our journal and our For the Love of Australia journal, and we got it. It's all getting nice and fluffy. So I thought today we'd work on some of our paid, like, extra sections we're going to be putting in. And one of the things we're going to do is we're going to be doing 3 types of envelopes. So this is a, it's sort of really heavy. It's not cardstock, but it's like a real heavy embossed paper. And then we have just our standard larger envelopes. I need to make sure let me go ahead and glue this envelope together so it's together, so we're ready to go. If you've been following along, you know we're doing everything pretty much in a scheme of gold and green as our color scheme. So we got several little things we're going to do today. We're going to be doing 3 envelopes today and attaching them, and then we're going to be doing those 2 envelopes, and then the other envelope we're going to be doing is a CD sleeve. So that is one that we're going to be doing. So let's get started. We'll start with this one first, I guess. And I do know that one of them I want to do with part of this napkin that I have. And I think we're just going to, yeah, I think we will. I'm going to, let me get my rag out here. Well, and I need my Mod Podge. I got my paintbrush ready, and I'm just going to Mod Podge this napkin. But first off, instead of Mod Podging the base coat, because I don't want it to get as wet, I'm going to grab just let me use my larger one here. I'm just going to grab a large glue stick, and I'm going to cover my envelope with glue stick, and then I will put my napkin down, and then we'll Mod Podge over top of it. So this will basically be just to hold it in place until we get the Mod Podge on it. So it's about randomly, pretty evenly put on there. And again, we're just gonna glue it down, then we'll Mod Podge, and this is just sort of random for around there. And I'm just sort of squishing this down so it'll stay. There we go. I lit on my on my glue stick. Then I'm gonna grab my Mod Podge, and we're gonna adhere this just like you do any envelope, any tag. That's real basic. We're just gonna cover the napkin. And we're just going to glue this down, and then I will use my heat tool to sort of dry it. And then we'll go on and do some other embellishing. But again, with these, you know, there's no really right way to do it. You can't really make mistakes. You just, if it gets a hole in it, then you just patch it up. Not a lot to worry about. It's just making sure that you get coverage everywhere, because that glue pushes down through the napkin. It adheres it. It also gives you a little bit more strength. Makes your envelope a little bit more sturdier, which is always nice if it's something you're going to be using a lot. And today we're working on the outside envelopes. We'll work on the embellishments that go inside of them later in the upcoming days. Okay. Okay, let me put my lid on here. Grab my heat tool. I'm going to heat this, so you will hear the sound of the heat gun. I apologize for the noise. I am going to sort of hold this up, because as you use your heat tool, you'll notice that a lot of times the moisture will push through to the back or into the back. And by holding it up, it gives it, you know, a little bit of air for it to breathe through, so it doesn't get as wet and tacky for you. And then we can trim up the sides when it gets dry. And if you notice, I'm holding it away at a distance, keeping it moving, because if you hold it in one spot, you will cause it to bubble. Now, if you want bubbles, that does create an extra additional amount of texture, but I'm not actually after that this time, so I'm keeping it moving. And this will add a really, really nice layer, coating of, like, sort of harden it up a little bit. Thicken up my envelope some. Just a little bit wet, but not super, super bad. And then I'm just going to take my scissors and flip it over, and I'm just going to trim these along the sides because I'm going to do something different with the back. And again, same thing over here. I'm just going to trim it up. Okay. And that's a strip I can use to adhere on something else. There we go, and I love the fact that that's there. So I actually want to put ribbon across the edge, just so on the back there will be a little bit of decoration, and the green goes with it really well. I'm going to use my Fabri-Tac for that, because that's my go-to when I use my fabric or lace or anything like that. And I apologize if you hear noise in the background. I got kids running around, so it might be noisy today. And then slide that down through there. Okay. And it doesn't matter if it hangs out, because I can trim. Again, I can take my scissors and just trim around the edge of the envelope. Because it doesn't bother me if it's straight or not. I sort of like it having that more rigid. Okay, so there's the front of our envelope. And we have the back over here. And I want to use a bit, this is part of that page about Australia. And I want to, again, this is really old, antique-y paper, so I want to use a scrap of it along the edge. I'm going to grab my ink because I want to ink it up. Although it doesn't need a lot around the one edge because it's already got a lot of that gorgeous age on it. And again, this is a page out of, well, it's a page about Australia out of a, let me see, a Compton's encyclopedia from 1962, I believe, is what this one's out of. I have several different ones. It was just like the letter A. So if you're doing something about a certain country, remember encyclopedias are good because they do have, you know, about certain countries. Okay. And then, let me this little piece off there. I'm going to glue this to the edge here because I just want to add a little, so it's not so plain on the back. I don't want to cover the whole back, but I do want it to at least, you know, have a little bit of something along the edge. And I'm just going to line that up in my corners. And like I said, if it doesn't go all the way down the page, I don't care about that. You can actually pull it down a little bit so it's sort of even on the ends if I wanted to. And one of your options is, you know, you could just glue around the one side and let it sort of be, I'm not even going to worry about that. Actually, I'm going to hit that with a little ink. Adds a little crinkle to it. And if you glue it down and do that, then, you know, you sort of do create those little wrinkles, which, you know, sort of add a little bit more texture to it. Sort of give it more of a wrinkled look, which I sort of like. Okay. And then over here, just to add a little bit to follow sort of along, I wanted to add one of the really gorgeous stickers that I got from Kamali. And I actually want to use the little playing mouse because I think he's absolutely cute. This is on sticker page. I'm actually going to cut around here, even though these are already cut. But just to add a little bit of Kamali to my journal, I wanted to cut out where she actually wrote what it was. You know, then I'll have that in her handwriting, which I think will be really cool because, you know, I'll always have that memory of her in my journal. Then I'm going to just ink up around the edges, just like we always would do. And pull the backing off. It is a sticker, but I tend to, again, want to make things and make sure they're more permanent. So I'm going to put a little art glitter glue around it. Then I'm just going to put it down here in the bottom corner. Okay. And then I can pull out my little mouse and come up around the edges. Normally I would put some type of something underneath him to give it a little pop of color, but there's a lot of color on this already with this over here and on the front, so I actually want to just sort of leave him sort of plain. Oh, let me put a little art glitter glue on there. And a lot of times you have to do that if you're using older stickers. I don't know how old these are, so I don't know how good the stickiness is. So that's why I put a little art glitter glue on it, just to make sure it holds. And again, these were the stickers I got from Kamali, and I just love them. They're so cute, the little mouses. Okay, and then one of the things I wanted to do, hold on, I've got several different twines and ribbons here. And I'm going to pull them out. Did I cut them long enough? Nope, I don't think I cut them long enough. Let me cut my little green one long. I think I'll use this green one. You know what? Sort of want to use a green that matches really good. Or maybe the gold. I don't know. I think I'll hold on the tie on the closure because I think I may want to put just a altered paper clip on there. So let me go ahead and this here. Then what I'm going to do is along my edge over here, I need to create sort of a spine. So I've got this excess paper. If you remember when what did we do? We made out of these. I used that for the background pages maybe, or we used it for something. Yeah. Oh yeah, we did it for our booklets. So I'm gonna make sure we don't use that there. So we'll put this one maybe in between these. No, let's in between these two would be a good spot. So we need to sort of grab our journal and grab a ruler, and we need to measure between our holes and figure out how wide. So I know between my holes I'm averaging 4 inches. Okay, so I know to be able to fit both of my holes I need to probably go 6 inches. So I'm going to mark that with my pen is fine. I just need to mark it so I know about where to tear. I'm actually going to go about 6.5. Okay. Actually, if we go 6, which would be great, we could actually do 2 of them and have 2 spines, because both of these sides are going to sort of, well, that's just a brown, but it's fine because we can, you know, throw some gold on there and make it fit right in. So I'm going to go at 6. I'm just going to tear that. And then I need these to be, let's see, these are going to be 1, 2, 3, about 4.5. Yeah, I think that'll be fine. So we're just going to take these and we're going to fold these in half. Okay. And as you can tell, this one's a little off, so I'm just going to trim it up. I'm going to cut this little rough edge off over here. Okay. I'm actually going to trim this edge off because it's got that little corner up there that's frayed off from. Okay. Then I'm going to ink this up really good on the edges, just adding some color to it. And I'm not going to worry about the inside because we're going to be covering that up. Okay. Then I'm just going to simply, I need to put this way. I need to see, how do I want to do this? This has to lay this way. So yeah, that's fine. So I'm going to put this up here so I can sort of see where I'm at first. And I'm going to put a little glue along my edge. I don't want to cover up the word Australia, so I'm just going to run it down, a bead down the edge, the length of my scrapbook paper that I cut. Just like that. And then I'm just going to move this around until I can line it up. And my Australia is still in there because I'm, you know, obviously I wanted that in there. And then line it up so it's even. Okay. Then I'm going to flip this over and I'm just going to cover this whole layer. Hope you guys can see that. Okay. And I'm going to fold it over. Okay, so that works. So this is going to be our side. So we're going to come over here, and I'm going to put my ruler on here. I know it's 6 inches, and I roughly need 4. So I'm going to come in just about 1 inch in and mark it on each side. Just in off the edges. I'm going to come in with my hole punch, and I'm going to punch a hole roughly right centered where those are. And let me line this up a little better because I don't want it completely off the edge. There we go. Now this is pretty stiff, and it's going to be a turn page, so I'm not going to put a grommet in that. I may come back later and do it, but I think that it'll be okay without a grommet. We can put, I will come back and put, let me see, I thought I had them setting here so I could use them. Okay, well, I will come back and we will put, oh, daggone it, hole reinforcers. You could put hole reinforcers or grommets over it, whatever, you know, you like. And you're just gonna slide your page in. Again, you have to move it around a little bit because this has to situate, and if it doesn't line up, you may have to, you know, play around with your holes a little bit. You know what? It's because I measured this exactly for the bottom, I think, and not the top. So let me put it in this way. Yes. You know, whichever way that you want to. And if you need to, like this, I'm going to have to trim just a little bit to the side, but it's not going to be really noticeable once I put my reinforcers in. So, because my reinforcers will cover that. So there's that envelope in there. And there's the back of it. So it'll stick out just a tad bit from the bottom, but not a lot. So there's that envelope in there. And I sort of like that sticking out. And I don't know, let me try to get up here where you can see it. Because it shows the front where we added that napkin on, and just sort of gives it a mixture of color in there. So it's sort of like a little colored tab part off the bottom. And I mean, again, you can move those up or down throughout it, however you want to do it. So I'm going to set that one to the side, because one of them I want to keep sort of plain. We're just going to color with, but we're going to do this one now. And I'm just going to, let's see, that's automatically sort of rounded right there. So I'm going to rip that off, ink it up. And again, this we're just going to sort of cover with different papers. So it'll be pretty easy to do. And I find on there, if I glue on here, it works a little better because I can always move my paper or add my paper. And see, that's sort of rounded, so it creates that faux roundness. It, you know, creates that CD type design. And then I can go down and just, there we go. There's that. We use a little fabric, so let's use some of this. And use it along the edge over here, just to add a different layer. And so basically we're collaging the front of this of the CD envelope. You know, and I don't care so much if it hangs off the sides or anything, because I think that sort of adds a little bit more to it. Okay, so that's there. Let's see what else we can add. I do have some of this paper that's got the green on it. So I think I'm going to trim it down and sort of put it right like that. Maybe curve a little bit more of this off on the inside, so you know, create more of that curve. I'm not gonna ink that up. I'm gonna, yep, that works. And yeah, so that's basically what we're gonna do, is collage the front of it. And these, oh, I'll grab my box. You can hold out to find them at like thrift stores and Goodwills and stuff like that, but they're getting hard to find because of what they are. You know, they're just paper CD covers. You can buy them new. They're like $9 a box, but you get 100. So, you know, 100 for $9 and something. Say, okay, let's estimate it out at 10 bucks. You know, you're still only paying 10 cents a piece. So they're pretty. So like I got this box that's ONN brand, on brand, and you get 100 of them in a box. So I mean, it's a pretty good deal. I mean, obviously finding them at like thrift stores and stuff would be cheaper, but you find them where you can. Let's see. I do have a little piece of green tissue paper over here. Maybe we can use some of that down here. That would look really pretty. It might fit under that fabric. This little torn edge I've got. Let me lift the fabric up here where it hasn't glued down. And then I can come back through, and if I'm putting fabric down, I always sort of try to keep the edges sort of loose, because I can always come back through and glue that down. Like right here, I can, you know, add a little Fabri-Tac to it, or Fabri-Tac, art glitter glue, whatever you want to add to it. I'm just going to add art glitter glue because that's what I actually had in my hand. And I'm going to go ahead and let that roll up because I sort of like the 3D-ness that it adds to it. And then this down here, I'm just going to sort of tear off by hand and leave some jagged edges. And again, the same thing with the corners. I don't cut those off. I sort of do that by hand. Okay, so I'm going to put something over here in this corner. So I think maybe I'll use a little bit of this paper that we had. Well, wait a minute. Let me see, because I did have some. I had some, remember the other day when we cleaned up with our baby wipe? Maybe I'll just grab a little corner of it and use it. So this is that baby wipe where it was sort of green, and I think it'll fit right across there. And the one thing cool about this, with it being sort of fibery, is you can stretch it. So you can sort of move it around to where you need it to be. So I'm actually going to use Fabri-Tac for that, because I want to make sure that it sticks down and adheres pretty well. And again, I can trim around that edge once I get it done. So as I'm gluing it down, I can sort of pull on it. And it's where, you know, go around the outside edge, just add enough glue to hold it down, sort of squish it down. And the one thing really cool with using the baby wipes, if you're going to use it over top of stuff, is it's thicker than tissue paper. So you get like a more thicker 3D felty type finish, but at the same time, yeah, I don't know, do that. I'll just trim this up right here. But you can actually see the text through it. Hold on, as soon as I glue this down around the edge up here at the top. I don't care so much about the sides, but that top I'm trying to, okay. So, I don't know if you can see in this top corner, you can actually see the text. You can see the stamp and everything, but you can see how much more 3D that is. So that creates that nice open hole. There is the little issue right here. So I'm actually going to try to roll that up a little bit because I use the Fabri-Tac. I can still get under there a little bit. And then I'm just going to put a little glue there and throw this little piece of tissue there. Then I can sort of roll and pull that baby wipe back over top of it. I can even go in here and cut this little edge off here so it's not as straight out, and sort of let that peek through there like that. Okay. And then we have our back, and on my back I actually want to, let's see if I want to use this, and I think that'll cover most of that one side. I'm going to trim a little bit off the top there, ink it up around the outside edges here. And this is where we stamped off. Actually, when I was making my Marabella journal, this was all off the page that I used to stamp off. So it's in my scrap. So I mean, you could stamp off, you know, any design you wanted to. And you know, you can just tell this is the page that when I would stamp off, because I didn't want it to be so dark in places as I was stamping and stenciling around the edges. So slide this over there and glue that down. And then I could ink this up, but I really think I'm just gonna, or I mean, I could put something here, but I'm gonna ink this edge up over here and sort of brown it up, just like the inside of the envelope up here. Okay, so I need to put something on here, just sort of fold down, so I'm going to revert back to some of this text that I had, and I'm not going to worry about inking this part up because it's just going to sort of randomly be across there. I don't really want to accent it, so that's why I'm not inking it. I just want to sort of put it on there to add a little cover, so that's not so stark white. Then I can come back through on the white parts that's on there and just sort of hit that up. Let me put my, and I'm going to get my, well, I dropped it. Hold on just a second. My gold pen again. And then I'm just going to use my gold pen and sort of go along this edge right here. It's actually coming out really gray looking, which I don't really understand. That's sort of odd. But let me come through and add a little color through here just to add. Now, let me grab my other gold pen. This is more of a gold liner, so that's really going to highlight around that edge. And I'm just going to roughly put it around there. Sort of drawing attention to the edge instead of making it look like it was not finished. It's just going to sort of add that cover look to it. It's just going to sort of accent it. There we go. And I'm going to do the same thing up around here. Just sort of highlighting the edge of that text. So it's more, sort of more of an extreme look than, I mean, where I was inking, I could have inked it, but this is going to sort of add more of a gold tone to it. It just adds that little bit of pop of gold to it. There we go. So, I mean, we could actually go on here and you could write, you know, whatever you wanted to on there with it. Give it a little time to dry. And we put it right here between here. We'll put it on the bottom. So this will be this side. So I'm going to turn this way. And again, I'm just going to come out so far and mark where I could make my hole. And I'm going to punch my hole. Okay, and there we go. So we've got our envelope there. So see, we're starting to get our little flip pages in there in between, and like I said, we can come back through. I may have to sort of, you know, and then we'll come through and we'll do our little piece. But basically what it'll be when we decorate it, actually I think I'm going to use one of the stickers because they're a little smaller, but we'll create our ephemera that'll slide in there. Wow. Trying to find something that's a little more centered so you can see it. That would just about fit, I think. But I'm going to use one of the stickers. but just sort of give you an example, and then our little picture will be behind it where it can peek out. I mean, technically I could use this. I just have to sort of lob a little bit of this edging off over here, and you can see all of the picture. There you go. So yeah, so we may even actually use that's in there. So you're gonna be able to see it, but it's still, it'll be glued in. And then you'll still have your back envelope too. Grab an index card or something to slide in there. There's an index card. So you'll still be able to slide your ephemera in there like a pocket, but you'll still have this really pretty front on it. So we'll just keep that in there for right now. Okay, let's put that to the side. And then we have this one. I know I want to use I'm trying to think of how I want to do, what I want to do with this. You know, I think I'm going to hold off on this one till the next time because I want to do it with some fabric. So I may have to pull out the sewing machine. So yeah, we will hold this one until next time. That'll give us 2 pieces of ephemera we made this time, and then we'll do the other ones next time. So thanks for coming along today. I hope you really enjoyed it. Again, we'll be back tomorrow with more ephemera that we're adding. Those were the first 2 envelopes that we've added. So we will add our 3rd envelope, and then we'll start doing tuck spots and flip out, flip in pages and all that sort of stuff. So you guys have a great day, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye.